Welcome everyone to What the Force, and welcome to a new episode of Clone Wars Special Reports, where we will be covering episode 11 of season 7, Shattered, part of the Siege of Mandalore, but they're no longer on Mandalore. And with me to talk all about that is Kyle.
A pleasure it is, this podcast to be on. Much to learn from you. I still have.
That's pretty good, Yoda.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Robin, true to form, who said, I don't want to see Order 66 until I know it's going to be okay, has decided to wait until the final episode to watch both. Maybe we will get her back. Maybe we won't. I don't know yet.
True to the 12-year-old credo.
Well, also, you know, your favorites being in danger is quite scary to kids. And this cartoon show doesn't play with that.
Doesn't shy away from it at all. They were loving Flash. And then at the end of the season that we watched together with Barry and Iris's daughter, Nora.
Yeah.
She fades away to nothing at the end of it. And the kids are a little less inclined to get back on the Flash train.
Yeah. Yeah. Because having your favorite character fade to nothing is horrifying for children.
Yeah. Like, especially in the Flash. That season with Nora. Not like anything else, because Star Wars would never do that. No.
Yeah.
It'd never just take a favorite character that kids idolize.
Like kids identify with and idolize and find really cool. And
especially those kids that got into trouble a lot and realized, like, no, I can be a better person. It is okay. I can grow from this.
Yeah. So they want to wait. Both kids actually want to wait until the end of the season, make sure it's going to be okay. Again, yeah, Robin still hasn't finished Rebels because of she knew what was going to happen with Kanan.
Which is shocking because Space Wolves.
I know. Space Wolves is so cool. And Space Whales, too.
I think my son's upset because no Space Bunnies. If there's no Space Bunnies, he's not interested.
Yes, he is all about the bunnies. Although
so
he is super into Mandalorian because of Baby Yoda. So, I mean, kids are odd. I don't know.
It's okay. Baby Yoda will probably just fade away to nothing at some point soon, too.
Stop. Please stop making them fade away to nothing. It's horrifying.
It's like they took that quote, old heroes never die. They just fade away. It's like, God. Even the young heroes now?
Yeah, like, what's up with that?
All right, Shattered.
Shattered, yeah. This episode started so interestingly. Like, just, you know, in the Mandalorian aftermath, we, you know, survey the damage, and Mandalore is not in this city in particular that's under this dome is
zero recap.
Yeah, zero recap again.
Except for, oh yeah, just a reminder, Gar Saxon is still alive.
Yes, they made sure we can see him.
New angle, same Gar Saxon. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I think there's some serious, like, just to remind you, Gar Saxon's still out there.
Yeah, no, he's probably going to do something to do with the purge of Mandalore.
Or Mando season 2.
Maybe. Oh, hey, that would be cool. And they like made sure he's a very recognizable face. So
yep. And he's
cool.
Also done by Ray Stevenson, the guy from Rome, right?
Yeah. So they're just going to dye his hair blonde and...
Well, he's old man. He's like... Gar Saxon in Mando would be an old man, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it in the reverse, like having Rogue One and having, you know, Saw Gerrera, old man Saw Gerrera, and then using the voice in Rebels. So, I mean, it's just a really cool way to think about doing stuff, actually. I think it's kind of cool.
I am betting anyone who will take me a bright, shiny loony that we get Ray Stevenson, Gar Saxon in Mando.
I love it. I don't even want to bet you. I just think it's a cool idea. Like, and you know, I wonder if you know, the casting rumors about Ahsoka Tano are true. If we'll actually just get Ashley's voice over top of the actress, because Ashley's voice is so iconic with Ahsoka.
For us English speaking people.
Yes, it's true. There is But okay, so every version of Ahsoka's voice is iconic. Yeah, as we covered on a previous episode. Okay, so, this all starts out. Bo-Katan meets up with Ahsoka, and we see a wrapped up Maul captured. So it's literally like the next, it's the morning after, but it must have been very late in the evening when this all happened. Like it's an hour later or something, and the sun is rising.
Absolutely.
Dawning on a new day. And
we get Gar Saxon leaving. We get a ship landing. I want to talk about that too, because mention ship landing. Ship lands, another ship lands, Gar Saxon's leaving. Bo-Katan gives a long, unreadable look to Gar Saxon. It was really an unclear expression. And then she turns and we see a whole bunch of injured people. And that's when you see what I'm calling Bo's regret.
Yeah, about what happened there and her choices that she made to have the Republic come in and help, quote unquote.
I wonder if she feels like the wrong sister died.
Oh, now I'm sad. She definitely feels like, with the conversation with Ahsoka, inadequacy to deal with the aftermath of war.
The new Mandalore.
Yeah.
How to lead Mandalore out of this.
Yeah. Whereas Satine was always all about that. It's like, how do we exist as a populace without war? And that's who we should be, rather than, always in war.
And then we get that echoed throughout the rest of this entire episode. Mm-hmm. So unspoken regret
of war.
Mm-hmm.
What are we after?
Line into clones and Jedi for the rest of this episode.
It's cool.
So it's
a cool theme to pull out. That's good writing.
Crazy relevant to today too.
Yeah.
We are constantly, us North American countries, constantly involved in part in wars all over the world. Mm-hmm. Never feels like anything here at home, but it's constant. It's never ending. Mm-hmm. The war machine and the economy that is driven by it.
Yep. I do want to point out, my friend B on Twitter actually pointed out there's a lot of similarities to how Maul is wrapped up, and then when he's in his coffin to a sarcophagus. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of Egyptian kind of parallels, and it's just really, really interesting to see kind of that come through. Like even Ahsoka and how her Leiku and kind of like the horned area of her head looks like a pharaoh's headdress. Yep. Right? So it's like there's some Egyptian stuff coming in, and she did this amazing thread on it. So I just want to shout her out for calling out that stuff, because especially I'm getting these weird vibes that like Maul is turning into a Force god. Because we know that Ahsoka was saved by the daughter at that point in the Mortis arc. We also know that Maul was actually saved in an underworld of sorts on Lothal Minor when he was saved by Morley, the snake that fed him things and then got to eat the leftovers. That's a very mythic thing to have experienced, is being fed in the underworld and survive. And then we have Kenobi like talking about how difficult he is to kill. There's a lot of parallels between Maul and the Son already, other than the fact that they're both played by Sam Witwer. It's like a very convenient thing to pull out. But I just get the feeling that Dave Filoni is familiar enough with the mythos of the Force and how that is very much based in Zen Buddhism. You don't create a yin, a light side of the Force, without having its opposite, a yang. You don't create the daughter, a light side Force god, basically, without creating a version of the Son.
Right. And I think that it's not necessarily a parallel. I've read a lot of those threads too over the last week in Twitter. And I don't think that the parallel is necessarily that Maul to Son, Ahsoka to daughter, because I think it is Maul to darkness, Ahsoka to light, the same way that the Son was to darkness and the daughter was to light. And so it's easy to draw parallels across when they're really just derivative from the same source.
But I don't think that she still exists after Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
And I don't think that we would just have one side of a yin yang at that point in the story.
But she ascends beyond and is not just the light.
Yeah,
right?
she's wearing white. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Right. We haven't gotten there.
But a version of the daughter, the Morai, exists. If Maul gets a snake or a bat or something like that, I'll know he's not dead. Mythically, there's no way.
But he would have had to have a snake or a bat in Rebels.
She doesn't have the Morai yet. We don't know.
Right.
Maybe the snake is in the desert.
Get some sort of teaser wrap up here where you get Maul post fight with Kenobi.
I don't know. I'm just saying that there's a lot of mythic stuff symbolically happening, and it makes me question whether Maul is now transformed into some other form that is not dead. I'm not saying that Maul didn't die. I just think that he's alive.
I think that's, you can't say one without saying the other.
I mean,
but okay.
There is no difference in the Force. You just transform into energy. And if he was already part Force God because of some sort of deal he made in the underworld with Morley, who is probably the son, because both the son and Maul use the exact same words. I just get this feeling that Maul is probably the son now. That's all.
Well, Maul is still Maul.
Oh, no, yeah, I know.
Just Maul.
I know. Yes. And so, mythic side note aside, Rex approaches and says, "Hey, Council wants to speak with you." Ahsoka's like, "I gotta speak to Anakin. Is he there?" "Oh yeah, he was there as soon as I left." Not there anymore. We have a time stamp exactly when this aligns with Revenge of the Sith. This is exactly when Anakin goes and talks to Sidious, and talks to Palpatine, and he reveals that he is actually Darth Sidious. He reveals he is trained in the dark side of the Force, and Anakin, instead of killing him there or confronting him, decides to go and tell Mace Windu what has happened.
Hello meeting.
There's
no table.
I know. So we have Ayla.
Because there's no war. That's really clear. There's no table because there's no war.
Yeah, it's all over.
The war is done. Well, we don't need a table anymore.
Obi-Wan is confronting General Grievous at that moment.
The war could be over.
The war could be over any moment.
Windu doesn't look too happy about that, does he?
Mace Windu is terrible. Every scene with him makes me not like him more.
So last time we were talking, I was talking about the West End Games version of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Which is the 3 force powers: sense, control, alter. Right?
Yeah.
And I thought that Maul has put a ton of points into sense so he can see the future and whatnot, right? Well, I think Mace Windu has a ton of points in control, because damn, does that guy just want to control things. He wants to control everything he can.
Yes. He's such a jerk. Like, if he had just been nicer to people, maybe none of this would have happened. Oh, hey, maybe not suggesting that you take over the Senate.
Exactly. Well, how can we do anything else? He has all this power. It's true. He's an evil dark force user.
I understand.
And he's going to manipulate the emotions and thoughts of everyone around him. How can we even trust anyone in the Senate to vote with us if we wanted to unseat him?
I know, but like, coups are very rarely the right choice. I'm just going to say that.
Look, if you don't have enough banana bucks, sometimes the only way to get more banana bucks is to do the coup.
This is a junta reference, the game that we play every time there's a junta in the world.
Exactly. We should play it. There's been a junta.
Speaking of banana bucks, the Sky Talkers, Caitlin and Charlotte, were making jokes about Bananakin Skywalker.
I want to see Bananakin Skywalker.
I want to see a Bananakin Skywalker.
He's totally a little bruised. Especially about the eyes. There's a reason we don't get to see Anakin this episode.
I know. It would be hard to see. I wonder if we're actually going to see him. I don't think we're going to see him because he goes to Mustafar and then he's not without. But will we see Vader? Will we have James Earl Jones come back?
No idea.
Oh my God. Okay. So we find out where we are. There's this very poignant way that which Ahsoka refers to herself as a concerned citizen. And, Yoda's like, as a Jedi, no, just a concerned citizen for now. Because she has still not made up her mind if she's meant to go back to the Jedi, which is really interesting. And you know what? She no longer has a choice.
Nope.
Although she doesn't know that yet.
It's interesting to see how the council sees her.
Mm-hmm.
Mace, he can't control her. So he's very dismissive. All of his looks are, he looks down his nose at her. It's very condescending and patronizing from him.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen pictures recently. Have you seen these of what if Yoda was the same height as everybody
else?
Yes. Oh my God. I don't like Yoda anymore. And I think that's the reason why they made him short is he always looks up to you. You always feel like he is looking up to you because he physically is looking up to everyone.
Yeah.
So he's always he always seems to be admiring of everyone around them. He always seems to be like, you will protect us. You can do this because I look up to you because I'm small.
Yeah. Except for when he's floating on his little disc and then he looks people straight in the eye.
Straight in the eye. Only Qui-Gon Jinn, though.
Yeah. Well, like when he's floating around, it's Attack of the Clones. He's speaking with Mace and Obi-Wan, and yeah.
So Mace makes a very specific, clear delineation between citizen and Jedi, and that's a different thing. That's almost a Heinlein sort of, are you a civilian or are you a citizen? Have you served in the war and earned your right to vote? Or are you a protected person within the society and therefore you don't have a voice and don't get to vote because you're one of the protected as opposed to one of the protectors?
Yeah, and there's no respect for the individual within the Jedi, and that's all just the dogma speaking, right? That is the establishment and the rules and the lack of flexibility coming through. Yeah.
In many ways, if you took and put Mace Windu in Starship Troopers, Mace Windu would flourish.
Yes.
Flourish in Starship Troopers.
Yep.
He fails to grab and catch hold, other than the fact that he's Samuel L. Jackson, he fails to command any grasp and gravitas in Star Wars because he's in the wrong world, especially as a Jedi.
No, I think he's a reflection of the problems of the Jedi. I think he's actually like a perfect example of why the Jedi fall, because of their inflexibility to adapt to new conditions and the new needs of the society. And that is what's taken advantage of by Sidious. It reaffirms the problems of not confronting the darkness within you and just ignoring it. Because Mace is a dark person.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever have coded him that way. I would have coded him as like cold.
I mean, as people often
impartial.
Call it out that he has a lot of darkness within him that he never deals with. And it was all leaning into the fact that he had a purple lightsaber. Yes.
Yeah, he is an interesting character that I don't really feel the need to want to talk about any further.
I really like the, look back to Yoda when Ahsoka's about to leave and it's like, do you want a message for Anakin? And she's like, I'll just tell him next time I see him. And then the couple of sentences exchange between her and Rex where, he's like, you didn't tell him what Maul said about Master Skywalker, about General Skywalker. And she's just like, no, I didn't.
That's when Rex says, you didn't tell them what Maul said about General Skywalker.
Yeah.
Really cool. I want to go back to Windu for just a second, though, because he says that depends on the Chancellor.
Right.
Luring Ahsoka into asking him the follow-up question. What is that? What do you mean that depends on the Chancellor? Oh, sorry. I can't tell you. You're a citizen. Windu out. Like, he basically wanted to just reprimand her again for making the bad choices. Like, what choice is she gonna make, Windu? You basically said if you want to stay a Jedi, you have to be guilty of this crime, or you can go away from the Jedi and then I won't have any respect for you because you gave up on the ideal.
Yeah.
That's a false binary. And I'm glad she saw through it.
The false binaries suck in Star Wars.
And then Yoda's hope, because he's hopeful. He knows she is a good person and she is important and she needs to make and that her choices have ripple effects on the world around her. And she has been pivotal and important. But what does he call her?
Child?
Padawan.
Padawan.
He still only sees her as a Padawan.
I think that all Jedi are Padawans to him.
When 900 years old you reach, look as good you will not.
Everyone calls Yoda Master.
Fair. Everyone is a but it was a little demeaning to me.
Oh, fair. I mean, literally everyone is calling her kid except for Maul this episode.
And Rex.
No, he calls her kid.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Everyone calls her...
Oh, Bo-Katan does not either.
Yeah, but she identifies herself as a student in Bo's eyes. So, I mean, that exchange happened in a way.
That's fair. She's basically telling everyone in the entire episode that I am still new, I am still learning, and I have learned from you. And I have learned from you.
Except for Maul.
And I have learned from you. Hey, you're a distraction. Go over there.
Yes. But Maul oddly seems to respect her a lot more, but we'll get to that. So they do this long, beautiful loading of Maul on, like, everything takes time in this episode leading up to the moment, right?
How much time?
I don't know. It felt like forever. Is it 5 minutes? The first part?
No.
Is it 10 minutes? Was it the first?
We're into scene 3.
Yeah.
We've finished scene 2, the Hollow Meeting, scene 3.
They're loading.
They're now assembly.
It's the Maul coffin.
It's more than that. It's the panoply of war. It is all those troops lined up, bringing him through. All you can see differential of the Ahsoka face masks, not Ahsoka face masks.
The red guys.
The blue guys.
Because the red guys are Coruscant's personal legion.
Yeah, we're seeing the panoply of war put on display.
Yeah, and they focus on that, and the music is very disconcerting. It's really interesting.
So, at 6:04 in the episode, scene 3 essentially begins with the last words Bo-Katan and Ahsoka say to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
that we know of.
Well, in this episode.
Yeah.
Possibly ever. Who knows? Well, probably in the show, because I don't think they're coming back to Bo. This is definitely felt final cut on Mandalore. We got stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
They load up, and 2 minutes and 22 seconds later, Rex says to Ahsoka, "You look like you have something to say." 2 minutes and 22 seconds in a 26-minute long episode.
Wow.
Is nothing but silence.
And music and
music that is way different from what we expected to hear from Star Wars.
I was listening to it with my noise canceling headphones on, and it shifts from right to left shift. It feels disconcerting, and like it evokes anxiety. And
there are so many minor chords that don't resolve to a major chord.
Yep.
It just moves to another key change, and they continue to maintain a minor riff. And
Kyle knows more about music than I do.
And this synth overlay.
Oh, yeah. The synth overlay was so interesting.
Right out of Dune style. All like Stranger Things that we're getting that more and more. It was
way
days.
More like Göransson's, Ludwig Göransson's score for Mandalorian. Like, it felt very similar to that with how much synth he uses. I was like, where is all this synth coming from?
You know what else it sounded a lot like too?
What?
Space Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And I was like, oh my God, it's the obelisk at the beginning of that. Oh my God, Maul is the obelisk.
Yeah.
And then the ship lands. Chunk, and they spend time and effort showing these ships landing. That's our third ship landing this episode. We have gotten 48 seconds of our 26-minute long episode just on ships landing.
Yes. I do want to point out, like, Maul's coffin and that whole scene with exchange with Bo-Katan and talking about the coffin was like one of my favorite moments, and something about props, like these virtual props that Dave Filoni introduces, just sets my mind like a flutter, because this coffin, a relic from a bygone age that was used to keep those force wielding maniacs in check. What?
Yep.
Oh my God. Okay.
How much did it look like the ones in The Mandalorian and the carbonite?
Yeah, carbonite freezing. Like it looks pre-carbonite freezing.
Totally.
But also it has probably force dampening technology, which is something that they've never introduced, or just is thick enough that force wielders can't get through it.
I mean, it's ridiculously complicated.
I mean, it's fascinating, right? It's old. It's so old in a way, it's decorated with murals.
Yep.
It has writing along the top in Mandalorian. I tried to translate it. All I got was a T.
Wow,
but it's
more than I did. All I got
writing
was, red lines.
Yeah, the writing is mirrored, and then there's like angular designs all the way around the Hannibal Lecter mask that Maul is in, and the inside of it is also really fascinating. Down below that, you have two kind of almost horse-like Mandalorian masks, and in the middle, you have a Mandalorian helmet that is right in the middle. And to me, this is representative of this is the way, this is the middle path, very Mandalorian in nature. Probably kind of before they even really knew what they were going to do with the Mandalorian. They knew it was coming, but they didn't really know what to do with it. And then down below, you have what looks like a person in robes in the middle, underneath the Mandalorian mask, surrounded by Mandalorians. And one Mandalorian is approaching them, holding a sword that looks like a light version of the Darksaber. And it could just be because it's all in metal or whatever that it looks light. And it could be the Darksaber, or it could be a light version of the Darksaber. A lightsaber. A white saber. I'll just call it the white saber. Anyways, all of that is so cool, and I want to know more about this box. And I love that Bo-Katan was like, we still have these, and Ahsoka is like, I thought your sister got rid of all of them. This is the last one. Reader, it totally wasn't. They totally have more of those.
Oh, yeah. No, of course.
Yes. But, I mean, theoretically, they have the carbonite freezing technology. So what is it about this box that is special? Why does it have glowing lights on the inside that
because
literally...
it's what's in the box that matters.
I know. What's in the box?
Yes, Brad Pitt. It's Maul, and that's what matters.
I know.
All of the box is just trappings for you to play in after the really cool action figure has been taken out.
It's just really cool.
So let's take that really cool action figure out, because things are going bad and we need a crazy dark side guy to create enough of a distraction.
We're not
for
there
the hero
yet.
To save the day.
We're not there yet.
You're right. We're on to scene 4, which I called Something on Your Mind, because that is what Rex says to Ahsoka right before everything is on his mind. It's like, sure, yeah, something's on Ahsoka's mind because the world's going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
this conversation was deeply ethical and interesting, because people have asked these questions as the fans, but also we should ask these questions as society. And it's awesome that we actually get to hear them, which is like, she's musing about her life. I was raised, from the time I was a Padawan, I have been a soldier. I've been at war, and Rex is like, the only reason I exist is because of this war.
Yep.
And how odd that it is that we have been brought together for this. Yeah.
My thoughts were, Rex says, many people wish it had never happened, but without it, us clones wouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ahsoka says, well, there are always some good things that come out of bad things.
Yes. It's very...
But again, the thing that I thought was even more relevant was that Ahsoka says, we are supposed to keep the peace. But my entire existence has been as a soldier. I've been raised just to be a soldier. And that tells me that those two things are not equal in Ahsoka's mind. A soldier is not necessarily there to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's mind-bending.
Also, like back to her statement, every action has positive and negative results. Unfortunately, as part of the war, even though they were trying to do the positive thing, they ended up causing the galaxy more pain. But what was the choice?
Well, there's Mace Windu's choice.
And they have the nice salute, which is lovely. Rex gets called in for the next briefing.
And then I realized something. And you mentioned it with the salute. This is super relevant because Order 66, that's about to happen.
Yeah.
And Order 66, Rex says, I didn't write it down, but what Rex says is that Order 66 is there to take out everyone in the Jedi command, all of the Jedi commanders. Mm-hmm. Ahsoka is not a Jedi commander, but they have taken extreme lengths over the last couple of episodes to say, right, we know she isn't, but they still see her like that.
Yeah, but they were also willing to kill Maul too. So I think it was just...
They were going to kill Maul because they were going to kill Maul. But they were going to kill Ahsoka, even though they're friends with her and whatnot, because they still see her as a commander. And they have set that up to reinforce in us an acceptance to say, right, yeah, they do. They painted their face masks. They continue to salute her, even though she is not a commander anymore, because they see her that way. And it has been nice as a way for us, like it's a two-pronged attack. We go, oh, those clones, they sure see her in the way they go, oh no, you're using that against us.
Yeah, no, that was really good. Yeah.
Because she's not a Jedi and they know that. Everybody knows that. She's left the Order. She should be kind of left alone because the Order 66 is kill all the Jedi.
Yeah. What is it? What is a Jedi? So he walks away and she starts to feel that scene. And you wanted to point out the differences between the actual scene and the scene because you watched both. You're like, I need to watch both.
I hate that scene in Revenge of the Sith, but I loved it here.
Why do you hate that scene in Revenge of the Sith?
It just feels forced now. And now that I've seen so much animated Star Wars with its depth and breadth of storytelling, it feels flash in the pan and it feels pushy. Like I mean,
it's the difference between short form and long form. Like it's hard to do short form and make it feel as how much we've able to see Ahsoka grow over the years. Like you cannot see a character experience the change that Ahsoka has experienced. That's why they did the Clone Wars, to show Anakin as a hero, because if you see him fall, you're like, but if you see him be a hero, then you recognize the tragedy in the fall. Yeah. And I actually appreciated that they did this way, which was,
I loved it.
We actually got to hear Hayden Christensen as Anakin. We got to hear Sidious. We got to hear Mace. And then it actually changed at the end to Matt Lanter's Anakin, which was very, very close to Hayden Christensen's Anakin. Yep. But they actually cut out some of the lines, made it tighter, and it felt heartbreaking as Ahsoka could feel what was happening to Anakin.
Yep. And not just what was happening to Anakin,
but that moment,
what was taken on by Sidious.
Yes.
Because the last line of that, I'll read the whole thing. So the first line is, you must choose. It's Sidious saying it to Anakin. You must choose. And then Mace Windu says, don't listen to him, Anakin. And then Anakin says, it's not the Jedi way. Little bit of tussling. And Anakin says, he must live. Then you hear Windu say, he's too dangerous. And that's when you get this guttural power from
when he's shooting
Emperor.
Mace with lightning, yeah.
And then you hear Matt Lanter say, I need him. And then you hear the, oh. And that's when you hear the last line is the Emperor taking control. The dark side around him is in climax, as Maul sees too, because you see that on Maul's face.
Yeah, because he opens his eyes when he realizes stuff is going down, yeah.
And the Emperor says, unlimited power.
I can only imagine that Ahsoka thinks that Anakin is dead.
Yeah, I mean, not like yet, maybe, but he's definitely shit. He's changed.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to discuss this next episode because it depends on what happens. But I think Anakin would not feel alive to her any longer.
He would not feel like the same person.
Yeah, because Vader is very different. Yeah, and at that moment, he is Vader.
Anakin has had a traumatic brain injury, and as a result, is no longer the same person.
Yes, a traumatic soul injury.
Yes. Traumatic force injury.
Yeah.
He's been hit with a blunt force object.
Boo.
Wow. You should not have laughed at that. That was dark. Speaking of dark, scene 5. Execute Order 66.
Oh my lord. We actually get to hear it. That is actually Ian McDermott coming back to actually deliver Order 66.
Do you remember their response? Because it's different from the response.
Yes, Darth Sidious.
Yes, Lord Sidious.
Oh, yes, Lord Sidious. Yes. I was like, everybody already knew his name?
Are you saying that in the chip it's coded that he responds after they put the commands in? He
is a messy bitch who loves drama. He would totally do that because he likes to make a scene and likes to be called by his true name, or his name that he feels,
his Voldemort name,
his made up name. Yeah. Oh, we're going by our made up names.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's totally something he would do, and it's like, wait! Don't read that chip. That's why he was freaking out when Fives had that whole problem.
Exactly. He's like, oh no, I put my name on that.
I signed that. No. It's too early.
I've signed the check, and it's post dated till much later. You can't cash that yet. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not enough money in the bank account yet for it. Oh, but then, hey Rex, something's on your mind.
Rex?
Something's in your mind.
Yeah.
That helmet.
Oh God, that scene. So he's holding the helmet and he like drops it, and he's got his 2 guns, and he's like, no, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could tell, he's crying.
He's still fighting it.
Yeah.
He was going to kill her. That was clear.
Yeah.
But he was fighting it because he's like, I will do it.
And he cries when he pulls his weapon, like his tears streaming down his face. Like, this is what I talk about when you can still have things that are like males on screen. Mm-hmm. You can still have females on screen. You can still have things that are like set in a war setting where literally a person is about to shoot their best friend, because that's what's about to happen. But this is called the feeling camera, where we see the struggle and the expression of agony on Rex's face as he is being forced against his will, much like droids with restraining bolts. But this is a human man who is being forced to kill his best friend against his will. And you see those emotions. That is feminine gaze. It is the feeling camera. It is the emotions. And that is still powerful and important.
Yeah. And he can still be masculine, and he can still go through those things because, much like it's not, rain on a window reflected on the face and the camera showing through. He's not really crying. That's just the rain. In this case, you can also apply that to the pain, the physical pain that he's going through in this conflicting where he is hypnotized and controlled to do one thing and wishes to do the other. And so he is in physical pain trying to fight that control.
But I think that it's a good balance between, something that would be typically masculine gaze and actually something that feels very emotional and feeling. And I think it's a really good balance and a good expression of how you can show these things and how it appeals to, a feminine and a masculine mindset, which you can appreciate both. That's part of the awesome.
Exactly.
Rant over. She is amazing and they stand no chance. And if she had actually wanted to slaughter all of them, she could have. But she doesn't want to harm any of them.
They're her friends.
Yep.
They painted their face masks for her.
Yep.
I don't want to kill people that painted their face masks for me.
I know. Like literally they have her face is trying to kill her.
I'm worried that they're also foreshadowing that the only way out for Ahsoka is to ascend. Because that was her only way out in that scene. Enemies all around her. She goes up. She ascends to the next level.
So what are you thinking?
I know. I saw this. I'm commenting. This is foreshadowing. I try very hard to never conjecture on what the future will hold.
I have made some tweets. I'm like, we'll know if this is going to go mythic in future storytelling if we see the Morai at the end of this episode.
Well, I have a couple of comments to make about that, but we're not there yet. So,
okay.
And it's driven from, these are factual things, not conjecture.
I like to speculate.
I know you do. I don't like speculation, especially in the stock market.
Okay. What is wrong with fan speculation?
Nothing is wrong with it, and you can have all the fun you want.
Okay.
Okay, so scene 6. Rex explains Order 66. That thing I write down, I'm like, Rex explains Order 66. Rather than write down what his words were, I was like, that should be clear enough. It's too bad because I really wanted to say what his actual words were because now we see the other reason Ahsoka is hunted because they still see her as a Jedi commander. Yeah. So that's all of scene 6.
Yeah, like he explains, we've been given the decree to kill off all the Jedi command. Any soldier that doesn't obey will also be killed
on sight.
Killed for treason. Yeah.
Go get Maul out of that chamber and kill him.
Yeah, go get Maul. He needs to die too. That bastard.
So that was an easy scene. Scene 7. 3 scenes left.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I want more scenes. This ends too soon.
There's a little bit of a cut back and forth with Maul and Ahsoka and the different things that they're doing later. But
in scene 8, yes, especially.
They cut immediately to execute Maul time.
Yep.
Maul's like, oh, wait, what is going on?
Oh, no.
Troopers go in. They open up the thing. He's still bound and gagged. And he's like, I am going to die. Oh, no. Who shows up?
Ahsoka.
There's
nobody else. R2-D2.
One lightsaber.
Yep.
Only one.
Well, she has the other one. It's just not true.
No, I know. But one lightsaber. She does not try to kill them.
Nope.
She basically makes them
I actually
incapacitated.
I actually wrote down 2 and then I had to cross them out because I'm like, those guys aren't dead.
No, she incapacitated them. She knocked them out. She hit their night buttons.
And then she only had the one lightsaber on.
Yeah.
Which I think is, is she going to offer the other one to Maul?
Yeah.
And Maul's all like, she's going to do that. She has seen the darkness and she has joined with me and I will lead her.
No, she doesn't trust you, dude.
I'm a distraction?
Yeah. So I love this scene so much because it didn't play out exactly the way I thought it would, which is awesome. And I still think that we're going to get Ahsoka and Maul using their lightsabers together in the next episode. I just think it's going to happen because I just think it's going to happen because there's something about them working together that is appealing from a story perspective.
I don't know. It sure was appealing having her say, you go over there. He's like, well, you're going to give me a fighting chance? And she's like, I don't want you to win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and points made. However,
go distract my friends. That's what you're doing. The fewer of my friends you kill, the happier I'll be when I've sorted all this out.
Yeah, like she's not giving him a lightsaber because she knows that will for sure mean more death. For sure mean more death.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, she doesn't trust him.
Nope.
So these two things together, and I appreciated her decision making, and it also showed like she's not naive.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I love that.
And she's not going to give him one of those lightsabers that she just lost and then had to spend however many minutes.
Oh no, Bo gave them to her right away. No, but
just fall next to her. Oh, geez,
I don't know. I don't know if you saw Dave Filoni talking about the lightsabers at all.
No.
So he actually did on the deep dive that comes out after the episodes. He actually talked about how Anakin, they are her lightsabers, but much like how Anakin improves every technological thing that he comes across, he readjusted the crystals and now they appear blue, even though they are the original crystals, and he made them better. And it shows how much both he has been thinking about her and, you know, wanting her to have the best equipment when she comes back, but also how controlling he is about how things should be.
Yes.
And it shows both of those things in one prop. And that's where I'm saying that Dave Filoni doesn't give us props without having thought through the multiple angles by which they apply. Anyways, especially how they affect the characters. That's always what it is for Dave Filoni when he's thinking about these stories and the story group and the story writing team. It's always about what is important to the character, not just, it's a cool prop. Well, everything has a reason.
And if it doesn't have a reason, we'll think about it and we'll come up with one.
We'll give that prop a backstory because that was a cool prop and it deserves a backstory. Yes.
Okay, so scene 7 is not done. Because,
I know.
Man, the buttons on Maul's waist sure do remind me of Vader's panel on his chest. Because, like, doubtlessly, they're the control panel that controls his legs and keeps his lower half connected. But, man, it's so cool. I like buttons. And those ones glow, and I just really want to push Maul's belly buttons. He's got so many of them.
I liked how impressed he was with her, even though like he was like a little like disappointed to not have the easy way out. Because I mean, dark side, easy side, right? She's like, no, sorry, bye.
Yeah, dark side's also like path of least resistance.
Yeah, exactly, right. But Ahsoka does something that again is unlike anything I have ever heard her say before, and also just it makes me go again,
which is funny because after she says that, she goes and does something that she has done since episode 1 from the beginning.
Yes.
So what is you do your this is how she's grown, and and we'll then talk about how she is true to self.
Oh yeah, no, go cause chaos, it's what you're good at.
Oh, man. So dismissive.
I know, but also, is Maul really good at causing chaos? I mean, he can, but he's more, like, thoughtful than that. It's purposeful chaos that he always has a purpose for everything he does. It's just, it was just a really interesting way to put
the phrasing is really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all.
Because he is all about that end in sight and going straight to his purpose. So here, but your purpose, it has to be that direction.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh, away. No lightsaber.
Maul, no need.
Down, boy.
Scene 8 is split between Maul in the hall, which I really literally wrote down. Maul in the hall.
And some people on the internet were calling it the Maul way.
The Maul way. I like Maul in the hall.
Maul in the hall.
Because it reminds me of Kids in the Hall, and it's full of the same sort of crazy antics and craziness.
I loved all the use of the panels as shields. I loved everything about this.
How much
hallway
of it was
scenes are
like
amazing.
Vader in Rogue One.
I mean, he was intimidating. He didn't have a lightsaber, and that's the only reason those people kind of survived. And he just pushed them back.
They didn't survive.
No. I mean, some of them survived. Sorry.
Fair.
One guy lost his arm, but he's still alive.
And his shoulder.
Maybe.
He is not alive. I did
he bleeds
not.
out. He bleeds out. But
thank you for no blood in Clone Wars.
That scene was intense for us. That dude, that one trooper losing his arm.
So intense. Would you like to do death count now?
Okay. Time for the Clone Wars special report death count. Over to Kyle.
We're in the chopper here, over top of the red, I don't even know what to call it, Star Destroyer from Coruscant, I guess, because they brought it here to pick up Ahsoka. It's not really clear where this one came from because she wasn't given it in the first place because those other guys were blue or green. So anyway, we're here with red and a bunch of guys are dead. I'd like to report to you that there has indeed, been an arm and shoulder loss.
Yep.
Because his captain arm piece was knocked off. It was a horrible scene. There's a lot of blood. I know you didn't see it on the waves, but yes, in fact, gore is everywhere. There are heads missing, and it's neither here nor there. The final count on just that hallway is 12 deaths.
What?
In just that hallway.
Mean,
but just point out that Heavy, Wrecker, and Crosshair killed a heck of a lot more guys, just not nearly as graphically.
Yeah, and they were droids, weren't they?
Yeah, they were all droids.
Yeah,
but droids' lives matter.
I agree. I'm just commenting. Some people don't consider droids to be anything more than toasters. So,
and if you add in the 3 Ahsoka killed earlier by deflecting their blaster bolts back at them, and then the 4 that Rex takes out. While in the med bay after waking up to save the day for Ahsoka, the total death count for today is 19.
Wow.
Yeah. Maul in the Hall.
Yeah, no, definitely had that Vader-esque feel. I really liked the shields. It was such an interesting use of like, what can a Force user do without a lightsaber? Oh, still destroy things. Like, they're very scary. Force users are very scary.
Yes. In the same way that Jean Grey from the X-Men is scary. People with telekinesis are scary.
Yes.
So we flip back. The other scene is
my favorite scene.
I know it is because it involves fun times with droids. But I want to call back that it makes perfect sense for Ahsoka to go here to her friends. Because
she trusts the droids.
Since episode 1, she has been a friend to droids, treated them like people, developed relationships and rapport with them. And it would make perfect sense for her to know the names of these droids that I don't think I've ever seen before.
Like, we had the one droid that was chirping.
His name is Cheap. His name is Cheap. Do you want to know who voiced Cheap?
Was it Dave Filoni?
Of course it was.
Yeah, because he totally sounded like Chopper, but like not an angry swearing Chopper, just a young innocent droid who's just trying to do his best. And there was S7E11, which was her old droid when she would be flying missions, etc. And yeah, I love them so much.
But you don't know who the other one was?
No, I don't know who the other one is.
The other one is named Gigi.
Okay.
And I literally wrote Gigi because she just had a real feminine quality to me.
Yes.
She just seemed like...
They were all astromechs, which is awesome. Yes. And okay, so...
And Gigi's the black one with the cone top.
Yeah, let's talk about droids for a sec.
Sure.
Droids are really important. And the fact that Ahsoka speaks binary, much like Anakin can communicate directly with astromechs and they can talk with her, is so wonderful. And it's a reflection of how she was raised by Anakin. Obi-Wan Kenobi barely speaks barely speaks binary. This was all Anakin. Anakin taught her how to repair ships. Anakin taught her how to communicate with droids and respect droids, because Anakin respects droids so much.
Mm-hmm.
And
except for 3PO. But anyway.
He built 3PO.
I know. Just there's no respect for him.
I mean, sometimes you're not happy with your own creations.
Uh-huh.
Just saying.
There's a pair sleeping upstairs.
Are they sleeping?
One of them is 3PO. The other is R2.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. They're both R2.
They're both R2, yeah. But droids are really important because they are considered to be the lowest of the low in all of the societies of Star Wars. And how people treat droids is reflective of kind of who they are. And we've seen lots and lots of examples of people who have treated droids badly. And we've seen lots of examples of people who've treated droids like in really wonderful ways, because they are sentient. They can feel pain. They often, with restraining bolts, don't have a choice. And the fact that they voluntarily, A, don't have restraining bolts on them because the Jedi probably don't believe in them. And B, are like, yes, of course we're going to help you, Ahsoka.
Oh, not just that. She basically asks them 3 times.
Yes.
She asks them the first time and says, you know what's going on? And they're all like, beep, 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 beep. And she's like, are you sure you want to help?
Yes.
Cheap, 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 cheap. It could be dangerous.
Yes, she confirms.
Short. Like, come on,
course
seriously,
we do.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Load the guy up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was wonderful, and it just sort of reflects, like, you know, treat droids well and they'll be your friends.
And then she tries to get access to the secure files about fives, especially in regards to Rex's report on fives. She can't get access because that's restricted.
So she uses Anakin's code, which is the date the Clone Wars movie premiered, because both Kyle and I went to it.
Yes. August 10th, 2008.
So it was
8108.
Yeah.
And that is the day that Anakin met Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But there's another thing about 8108.
Okay, what is it?
And there is a book with an ISBN number that has 80108 relatively, like in the back of it or whatever it is, that is relevant. And that is a book that you quite like called Myth. It's a Star Wars book. The big one you got, Nat?
Oh, The Magic of Myth. Really?
Yep. The Myth, whatever it is, Star Wars, whatever that book is called.
The Magic of Myth?
And
Star Wars, The Magic of Myth?
Yes. That book has 8108 in the ISBN. I would hope that that's just complete randomness, but it sure is cool that it ties together with your thoughts about the mythic in Star Wars.
That's cool. Yeah, so the Magic of Myth is the companion guide that went along with the Star Wars Magic of Myth Smithsonian exhibit that happened in the 1990s, 1996.
Super cool. Mm-hmm. But let's move on, because it's scene 8 and I call this one R7 is a stunner.
Yes, this is the I'm going to send you a message and actually stand directly behind you.
Yep.
Scene, which I just love.
On the first viewing, I thought that was her live.
Oh.
Which is what I think Rex was intended to believe,
yes.
is that that's her live.
Yes.
In the second viewing, it's clear that she is a message.
Yes.
Which I think is awesome.
Yes, it was great. It's
so cool.
Rewatchability on these episodes is really enjoyable because there's so many things to pick up.
Yep. The back and forth there. And Cheap is just gorgeous in this scene. He's so funny.
Yes.
I would love to see more of him, but what we got is enough.
Cheap.
And I would like to say that they kind of seem like the Three Musketeers to Ahsoka's D'Artagnan.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
We got our little Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. I thought it was really cool.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. R7, Cheap, and GG.
Oh, I love it. And so he gets stunned. and they carry him on top of their dome.
Oh my God. And not only that, did you see how they load him onto the med bay? They turn their domes to lower him onto the table.
I love droids so much, especially astromechs. Astromechs are just the best.
Yeah, they're fun. And then we get the med droid.
Yep. And they cannot find, this scene is so interesting.
Weirdly interesting.
I love this scene so much. They cannot find the chip.
Yep.
Until Ahsoka uses the Force and chants,
I am the Force and the Force is
Chirrut
with me.
Imwe's
I am the Force and the Force is with me.
Chant from Rogue One. I am the Force is with me. Which is...
They kept saying, and the Force is with me. Which I was
I am the Force is with me. Yeah. Did they say and?
And they said, I am the Force and the Force is with me. I am the Force and the Force is with
me. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. The and wasn't there in Rogue One.
No. Here today, though.
Here today.
But that's okay.
It is very Zen Buddhist again, i.e., you cannot have one without the other. You cannot have the Force with you without being with the Force.
Right. Unless you're a droid.
No Force for the droid.
Nope.
No. But with that chanting, Rex also starts to chant. And with that, they are able to scan and reveal the chip, which I don't know what that means yet. I will think about it for a long period of time, though.
I vaguely recall them talking about the chip being very hard to find for some reason, and I can't recall what it was.
Like way back with the top and 5 episodes.
And I thought it had to do with the fact that putting the chip in, they also then put in protocols that when they were scanned and whatnot, they would overlook them.
I don't know.
But anyway.
I mean, Rex knew that it was in every clone.
All of us, the entire Grand Army of the Republic. Yeah. I just have to, this is the part that really got me too, because all of this scene of her trying to save Rex, get the chip out of Rex, and the buildup of that is all of these clone troopers running around trying to find her, and then they find the med bay and they're trying to break in, and they all are wearing Ahsoka masks.
Yeah.
And it's the guys that had like probably the dregs of the charcoal, the coal stick or the crayon. Like the
spray paint.
It's not full. Like they're colored on for the most part. They're not like spray painted with a stencil or anything. These guys colored them onto their masks, and some of them are not 100%. They probably ran out.
And these are the ones that are basically getting killed by Rex as soon as the door opens.
As soon as that door opens.
Yeah. Can I just talk about how much I love Rex's guns?
He's got some nice guns.
I love his
guns.
They're
little stubby guns, aren't they?
Yeah. They're
little stubbies.
Yeah, like that's what he prefers to use. He doesn't use rifles. He uses these guns. I don't know. There's something about Rex.
It's not how big it is. It's how you use it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have 2.
And he's got 2. Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah.
That is the last line of the entire show. All of us, the Grand Army of the Republic.
Yep. So what did you think of this episode? Too short.
Well, at 26 minutes, it's not.
I know, but it felt too short because it was like so much action.
Because it's episode 3.
And it was tight. Yeah, I know. I felt like we could have, like, it will be really good to be able to see them back to back to back to back and actually have that resolution. Hopefully that's going to happen in the last episode.
The flow and the pacing too will be really interesting to see when you watch all 4 of them as an arc. Like all 3 of these have felt, not so much the Bad Batch, but especially the Mendez one and now this have felt like an ongoing movie, a flowing pace. We're not telling you one story. We're in one segment. We're telling you a longer story with smaller compartmentalized pieces. Has been historically with these are all going straight from one to the next.
Yeah.
This episode's called Shattered, and I kind of felt that way.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm broken down and being remade to bear witness to what I already know is to come.
And the last episode of the Clone Wars is called Victory and Death, and that will be premiering, well, when this episode comes out on Monday.
Yep. So we'll see you here back then. But first, I want to ask, what does shattered mean? We talked about old friends long not forgotten. Shattered. What is shattered in this episode?
Trust.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I Shattered is how many people describe feeling betrayed. And there's a lot of that going on.
See, for me, I wrote the Jedi Order ?
I mean, yeah.
I didn't even watch the episode yet. I literally was like, Shattered.
But,
okay, is it the Jedi Order?
But I mean, Rex talks about this in Rebels when Kanan and Ezra talk to him about what happened. He talks about how you always have a choice. But like, he was lucky enough to have Ahsoka. Can you imagine like what is the aftermath of having the chip in there? Do they wake up? Do they realize what happened? Do they realize they killed these people that put their lives on their lines? Like, what does this cause the clones to go through? I can't even imagine that. It's literally a massive wound in the galaxy that is happening right now. And it's a betrayal. And that's how betrayal feels, is because it doesn't feel like it has come justifiably anywhere. And this is very common in military situations when you are put into a situation when you are suddenly betrayed by the fact that you're given orders that you can't comply with, or that you have to do something because you're given an order and you do it because that's your order. But then you feel this massive sense of betrayal. And that is what is the invisible wound of war. And they talk about it. It's covered really, really well in the Theater of War. And I highly, highly, highly recommend The Theater of War by Brian Dories. If you have a chance to listen or read it. Yeah. Anyways, yes. So to me, it's just massive betrayal of the galaxy with the execution of Palpatine's plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Maul points out with, it was brilliant. The soldiers that you had come to trust are the weapons of your destruction. He appreciates how brilliant Palpatine is.
Or how insidious.
Insidious, yes.
Sidious is.
Yes. Yeah. I do want to point out that I made a joke about Maul being a weapon. And my friend Laura followed up and said, Maul is not just a weapon, but also a wound. He is Maul. He is a mauled person.
He's also where you can get a good sale on shoes.
I mean, let's go to the mall.
Let's not. I don't want to get decapitated.
All right. Any further thoughts leading into the finale?
Nope. Because I don't do that.
I don't know.
I'm not going to conjecture. That's not for me. I'm glad that it is not victory in death.
Yeah. Wait, I mean, victory and death is still not feeling nice.
Victory and death seems okay. Victory in because I mean, who are they going to kill? They can't kill Maul. He's around in Rebels. They can't kill Ahsoka.
So
she's around in
another
Rebels.
key thing
they
to
can't
remember.
Kill Rex. He's around in Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Oh, and then Rebels.
Another key thing is that they ejected all of the escape pods. So we're in this kind of crucible situation where it's like, 2 force wielders and one now.
They still have all the jump ships and they still have all those.
I know. It was just really interesting that they made a point that Rex was smart enough to be like, yeah, no, we're not going to allow people to jump into escape pods.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see what happens.
I'm super excited. 1 to go.
1 down to go. Yes. So, what are the behind the scenes production stuff that we want to talk about today?
Sure. So, first off, this episode was directed by Saul Ruiz and written by Dave Filoni.
I love Dave's writing.
Spoken about these gentlemen already. I'll talk a little bit more about Dave Filoni next episode.
Sounds great.
But I would like to talk about something that I've constantly scratched my head at every single episode. And that is, there are 2 guys, Joel Aaron and Gianni Aliotti.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a bunch of, Gianni Aliotti has only done 10 episodes of Clone Wars.
Yep.
Joel Aaron's been around for Rebels, a bunch of other things. Most or all of this season's episodes of Clone Wars as well. They are the director of cinematography lighting and the lighting and FX supervisor. And I was like, why do you need to have a lighting person there's nothing to light. It's an animated show. You just draw it lighter or darker.
That's not how it works.
No, it's not. And they're really, really important. Because they have to light exactly as they would in a real situation. But these gentlemen both do a whole bunch. They do digital lighting, which I was mind blown on this. And they literally determine and direct where the lighting is going to be for each of the scenes. So how they are lit and how they are shot and where the... I don't even know how it works. It's mind-boggling to me that you can tell the computer that the light source is over there and therefore it sends intensity in that direction in a computer animated place. These guys are super important and really, really relevant because they don't just do lights and darks. They also do those teals and blues and oranges and the reds. Whenever you see Maul, everything gets that red wash because they're also responsible for these animated gels for lights. And I was like, what? Now I have to...
You understand gels from stage stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. I know why lighting is important because you have to be able to see the emotion and like if you can't see them.
It creates moods, right?
It does. But also good lighting tells the audience where to look. Yeah. And I would have just thought that had to do with focus. And I totally get that in the real world, you got to light things properly. I never would have thought in a million years that in a digitally animated show that you need to think about that at all. Well, now hopefully everyone who's listening to this either realizes, well, gosh, that guy's dumb, or like, I'd never thought of that either, because that's like super relevant.
Yeah.
So these two guys have been basically responsible for all of the lighting for the FX, and then all of the lighting for the cinematography in tandem the entire run of the show.
And we're getting something that was introduced in Clone Wars that then got introduced in the sequel trilogy is lit lightsabers, and those reflect light.
They are really lit. They're lit. Like lit.
Yeah.
In that cool, I'm a tween teenager way of saying it.
No, but that these also reflect light.
Yeah. They are their own light source as well.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
I love that adds a complexity because when they introduced those Anakin and Obi-Wan going into like a dark cave and using their lightsabers as lights, people were like, what? You can use them as lights? Because like it was never something that they could do before because they just basically like added the effects in post before, but then they realized, oh, hey, lightsabers actually do produce light, so you could use them as a light.
Literally half of the portmanteau.
I know, but it was just not something that happened in the films, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then...
Although, I mean, to be honest, when Qui-Gon Jinn took his lightsaber and jammed it into the door...
I know.
And you saw the heat coming through on the other side. We hadn't seen that either.
I know. That was amazing. that blew my mind when I saw that in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I still dream about that moment.
But then, in the sequel trilogy, they actually started using, basically special effects lightsabers so that you actually got the glow from the lightsaber. And that was just such an awesome ad. And so hopefully going forward, when we see lightsabers in live action, that is a change to the world, even if it happens like, I don't know, like they've kind of made reference to in this that there's, this sorcerer Mandalorian history from a bygone era that I really, really want to see, that we actually get to see that happen. And like the Darksaber has its own lighting and stuff because we've already heard from, what's the actor's name?
Giancarlo Esposito?
Yes. That he's broken 4 of them. So he's used them.
Oh man, I love the mirror from Once Upon a Time.
Yes, and from Breaking Bad.
Yes.
And Better Call Saul.
Hermanos Los Pollos.
Yes, I don't. I haven't seen it. Remember?
I know.
Yeah. So, anyways, I thank you for that on the lighting
So cool.
Special effects. It is super cool. And what you just have to remember is that they basically create a digital world. And it helps because they can control all of the environment. But it also makes you think about, and we're going to be getting the documentary today when this episode is released, on The Mandalorian. And I'm going to tell you, when you look at the live action pieces, they've introduced a lot of the things that they could do with animation into the live action pieces because it creates stability. And that's what you need when you're talking about filming, like creating the 360 environment that they can control the scenery. And so if you need to film something at sunset, instead of having a window of like an hour, you have all day to film that. It's just really wonderful that they're kind of learning these techniques, and ILM is just pushing the boundaries of what they can do so that they can do things faster and cheaper and better and reuse environments very quickly because, hey, you send 2 people out to go record, the scenery that you need for that environment, and then you project it onto the screen with the cast and the crew there. So cool. Making digital assets is now my new favorite thing.
And just to point out, because I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, that scene on Mandalore, Bo-Katan's look, the injured people, watch that again with the emphasis, where is the lighting? How is the lighting showing this scene? And how much depth and space is being created, especially with objects in the distant background, and how those are relevant in just the blink of an eye to what's going on to inform you what Bo-Katan is thinking about. Because it's super cool and not stuff that, like, it's not easily done, but because it's animated, it's so much more easy to do it. You don't have to get extras that are seconds, that are just second units that are working in the background on those things. That's just added in. And there is some really cool stuff that's been done and is added in, and you're just got to think, so that the back of that clone trooper, that's an asset that they would have had to go to the production manager to make sure that they clear that asset. And then they would have had to make sure that the individual who's responsible for cataloging all those things pulls that shot for them to send it over so that CG can then go in and do all of the work associated with pulling all the files and compiling them into something that just tells you a little bit more about where Bo-Katan is right now.
Yeah. And I wonder if they had to remake all the files from the Clone Wars, or were they able to reuse all the files? Because they're so much insanely animated for this. I have no idea.
So it's that reduce, reuse, recycle piece.
No, I know. But everything is like extremely animated. So
right. So they took models that they had before and they updated them with better tech so that they could make them more detailed, because something that was costing X amount of RAM back then at that level of
definition. Yeah.
It's like generating like 3D printing.
It doesn't matter.
Rendering. That level of rendering was X before. And they couldn't go further than X. Well, there's a new X now, which is so much more than it could be before. So an asset that was this cost to maintain and develop is so much cheaper now, so that they can improve him to get to X
easier. Yeah.
Easier.
I assumed they reused especially the ship models, but I think they had to, completely rebuild Ahsoka. I think, and all the main characters they had to rebuild.
But I don't think that they had to rebuild them. I think that they just had to take what they currently had and render more into them so that they could add better definition around Maul's earring. They could add more detail to their costumes. Oh my God, his face is so wrinkly and expressive now.
Yeah.
So I don't think you would have had to strip him out and start all over.
I'm just wondering, because he looks more like Maul in the original series. They did motion capture of Sam Witwer's face, but now he looks like an interesting combination between Sam and Ray Park.
Yeah.
He looks like especially with how he moves his mouth, it looks like Sam, but his actual facial features, the wrinkles and stuff, looks like Ray Park. Not to say that Ray Park looks old. I'm just commenting that he looks more like Ray Park.
Agreed.
Anyways, so this was such an awesome episode. I'm really excited for the finale.
Blown away.
Where can people find you if they are looking for you?
Well,
Online.
I'm usually at home
Online.
because, shelter in place. But online, you can find me at Tavern Tales DM.
Thank you again, Kyle.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host. Our music is orchestral music composed by Christy Carew for What the Force. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/whattheforce. We'd like to thank all our patrons, especially those who love and are obsessed with What the Force. Melody, Night Huntress, In Wild Space, Susan, Brad, Anna Perez, Macau Mom, Neil, and James. Make sure you like and subscribe on your podcast app of choice or on YouTube. Leaving a 5-star review on iTunes helps other people find the show. You can connect with us on Twitter at What the Force Show, What the Force Podcast on Facebook, or on our website, whattheforce.ca. We also have a new Discord. Links are available in the liner notes. Feel free to reach out and start a conversation. Cheers.